Hello grade 3s and welcome back for another poetry lesson. For this lesson you're actually going to need your poetry booklet, and if you remember last week we did our acrostic poem where you wrote a word down the side. I did Hawaii and then made some words or some phrases or groups of words to go with each letter. If we actually look at the table of contents, you can see that we did do the acrostic poem, which was poem number 1, but we're actually going to be going out of order and we're going to skip down this week to number 5, the concrete poem, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And we've chosen to do this one this week because we do have Earth Day this week, and we thought that this poem would fit nicely with that. So we're going to be finding the concrete poem page. So these are the pages you will be using today. We're going to be looking at an example so we can see that a concrete poem, sometimes it's called a shape poem because it's written inside a shape, or sometimes the words make the shape. We'll see some examples of that. And then we're going to be writing our own concrete poem on this page. All right, so I'm going to get set up with the document camera so we can take a closer look and show you some examples of concrete poems. Okay, let's get started. We're going to just flip to this page that explains what a concrete poem is. And as I said before, these are also sometimes known as shape poems. A poem that is written in the shape of the object that the poem is written about. So here's an example of someone that has written about a poem about love. And so they've done it inside the shape of a heart. Love is in my heart, it is a feeling I have inside. Love makes me happy and brings me joy. My heart is happy when there is love. All right, so that's a lovely little poem that we can connect to, and it just brings a feeling of love to our hearts. I'm going to show you a couple of fun examples of other ways to do concrete poems or shape poems. This next one that we're going to see is a poem, and it's written in the shape of a star. But instead of drawing the outline like this and then writing inside, the words make the shape. This is a little trickier to do, but I did want to show you this example. It looks pretty neat. If you can hear the vacuum in the background, that's my husband decided it was time to vacuum while I'm doing my poetry lesson. But hey, I'm not going to complain, at least I'm not doing the vacuuming. A sparkle way up high, one to make all your wishes upon, high in the nighttime sky, blinking like a broken traffic light, shining above us like a canopy with holes punched in it, growing bright. Each night we look up at them in amazement. They hold our hopes and dreams. Their twinkle assures us that everything will be all right. Star. And I know that this says verything, but I think the author meant to say everything here. And you'll notice in order to get the shape of this star, some of the words were broken up. But that's okay, we can follow it along like this, and it really looks pretty cool that it makes the shape. Notice that the person didn't just say, a star is in the sky. Stars come out at night. Stars are bright. Sometimes they twinkle. So it's not just, excuse me. That was just my husband getting a little too close to the office with the vacuum cleaner. Okay, so it's not just writing a bunch of facts down that we know in sentences. Poems and poets, the people that write poems, choose their words very carefully. It's about painting a picture in the minds of our reader by having really good triple scoop words in there, those juicy words that are going to give really good description. All right, and sometimes it's not even really full sentences, they're sort of groups of ideas together. All right, and this author has done a good job of that. I wanted to show you another fun concrete poem. This one's in the shape of a cupcake. And I'm not actually going to read all through this one, but it really is about somebody that's made a cupcake, but the cupcake has gone missing and they're searching for it and wishing they had a magic wand to make it appear. And what I'm wondering is if someone had actually eaten that cupcake. So that one's really fun. Okay. I had asked you to think about doing a concrete poem from something in nature. Since it was Earth Day this week, we thought that, I keep saying we, but Mrs. Petrie and I have been doing some planning together, and so her class is doing a lot of the same activities as we are. We thought that it would be good to write a poem about something in nature to honor our Earth Day and our Earth Week that we're having. So I've drawn a little outline here of a leaf, and I've come up with a poem for my leaf. And I thought maybe on this one I could write my poem inside the lines, or inside the leaf. And to do that, I'm going to draw some lines on here. Another way of doing concrete poems is you can write them around the outside of the leaf. And I'm going to show you that on a different shape, but for this one I thought I would write my poem right in here. But to help me do that, I'm just going to draw some lines, and I'm going to get started. You don't need to watch me draw all of these lines. Okay, I'm just finishing off my leaf poem. You can see I had it on another piece of paper written out, and I'm just copying it into my shape here. Let's read what I have so far. As I was walking, I saw a curious sight, yellow and green bumps dotting the branches of trees lining the street. Leaf buds, the trees are waking up from their long winter nap. Soon they will be gently waving hello in the... Now I want to put breeze here, and I wonder if I could write it this way, in the breeze. And then I've kind of gone down my leaf stem. I like that. Okay, so I chose to, when I was out on my nature walk, noticing the buds on the trees, and maybe in a moment I can show you. I'm just looking outside my window and I can see them dotting the branches. And so I thought about this, and I thought, well, what would be a creative way to say that, you know, the leaves are about to appear on the trees, and it's like the trees have been sleeping all winter and now they're just waking up. And so I thought that was a neat way to say that the buds are out and soon there'll be leaves there. I'm wondering if you notice that I've used something in here, waving hello. This is a device that we were using in writing just before the break. Does anybody remember what that's called? When I'm giving sort of a human action to something that is not human. So humans wave hello. Leaves don't wave hello, but they certainly can move in the breeze. And that was called personification. So I decided to add a little bit of personification in there. Okay. So what I could do actually when I'm finished this poem, I could outline it, maybe in a Sharpie, and then I can go over my words with maybe Sharpie or with a pen, and then erase my lines. I'm not sure if I erase the lines if this would still look like a leaf, but I could certainly try that. I'm going to show you another poem another way of doing a poem. And so I've done this one on the page that is in your booklet. And I've drawn the shape of a flower here. And again, I've written a poem about flowers on another piece of paper. And I'm going to see if I can get it. But this time I'm going to do it around the outside of the shape, which is another way that you can do shape poems. So I'm going to start, and then we'll come back and take a look at what the finished poem looks like. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn this because I'm going to start by writing on this leaf. And my poem starts with spring is in the air. All right, and I'm going to come back when I am finished and you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here is my final poem where I have written on the outline, the outside of my shape. Spring is in the air, flowers blooming everywhere. Tulips, buttercups, and roses watered gently by garden hoses. My garden is popping with color and growth, giving beauty and fragrance. I'm thankful for both. And I decided to make this one rhyme, but of course you do not have to make yours rhyme. I have to say it was a little tricky. I got really stuck on this last part, but I'm happy with how that turned out. And I think what I might do now is color in my shape and give it a little color so it looks interesting, a little more interesting, a little more polished in my poetry book. Okay, and here we have the final product. I'm quite happy with how that turned out. So I decided to outline it with a Sharpie, outline all of my words so that they popped off the page a little bit. You may not have a Sharpie at home, so that's okay. You could just leave it in pencil, or if you have a pen, you could go over it in pen. But I really like having the color on there. So you are going to have some fun now and do some of your own concrete poetry. Remember, I would like you to do one just to honor our Earth Day and our Earth Week activities this week. So pick something from nature like a flower or like a leaf. I think I'm also going to add some color to my leaf and finish that off. All right, you can pick other things. It could be a bird, whatever you've noticed on your little nature walk. And you could also, instead of writing inside like I did in my leaf or around the outside, you could have the words make the shape like the star poem that we saw. And if you really enjoy this, and after you've done one from nature, give one a try of something else that could be fun, like the cupcake, or you could choose an ice cream cone or a teddy bear. It is up to you. I want you to have some fun with it. I did say I was going to see if we could look outside and just see what I was looking at. This is a tree outside that's just starting to bud. It's hard to get close enough for you to see the buds, but the tree is definitely waking up from its winter nap. All right. Go and have some fun with your poetry, and I'm going to go see if my husband has finished that vacuuming yet. I hope he is, so then I don't have to help. See you next time.